Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly consider subscribing to our channel if you are watching for the first time. To those who are our regular viewers and those who support this channel in one way or the other, I want to say thank you. May God really bless you. The Azimio fraternity led by Honorable Martha Karua today made that bold step and responded to the Kenyans who have been telling them to go back to the streets. There is a joke in town that this time round the demonstrations were called by people from Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua strongholds. We have seen viral videos of Kenyans from Mount Kenya and the Rift Valley begging Raila to take people back to the streets because they are tired of this government, courtesy of the punitive taxes that was recently passed by the members of parliament. They now want Raila Odinga to go back to the streets. And some of them have confessed that they thought that this was a Luo affair. They thought that those who went on demonstrations did not know what they were doing. Some of them have even confessed that they thought that those are people who had lost direction. Now they say they understand why people went to the streets, because they feel the pains of the high cost of living, and they are really convinced that the only way to compel this regime to listen to them is to go to the streets. So today Martha Karua said that on 27 they are considering, or they are calling upon people to converge at the Kamkunji grounds for a consultative meeting, because they are saying that they cannot sit back and allow this government to impose heavy taxes on them, punitive taxes on them. And they are calling upon all Kenyans to avail themselves so that they can discuss and decide how they want to govern themselves. So many Kenyans have really welcomed this, and they're saying it has come at the right time. But my worry is one. This is not the first time the Azimio is calling for consultative meetings or demonstrations, because by the end of the day, I can assure you that these consultative meetings will compel Kenyans to go to the streets. We are going to see the mother of all demonstrations, because even those who did not attend will attend this time round. But the question is, will it succeed? The success here is forcing the government to reduce these taxes or abandon them completely. We all know that this has been passed in parliament, and soon the president will assent to it and it will become law. Will the Azimio succeed this time round? Don't forget that just the other day, Raila Odinga told his supporters that he was sure that he won the August elections because the whistleblower said that Raila got 8 million against William Ruto's 5 million. And Raila gave 5 irreducible minimums, among them reinstating the Cherera 5 team that has now gone home, reducing the cost of living. He wanted William Ruto to stop interviewing the panels that will recruit the IEBC commissioners. He wanted the server to be opened so that the whole world knows who won the August elections. This has not happened, and it seems that the talks that were supposed to be happening between the two teams, the Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, have collapsed, and Raila is no longer telling people to go to the streets. And there was this conversation in town that the reason why Raila Odinga decided to sit back and stop the demonstrations is because he wanted Kenyans to feel the pain, to understand that choices have got consequences, so that they can themselves beg for these demonstrations when they now understand the meaning of going to the streets. And this is the reason why we are asking, do you think this time round it is going to be successful? And in this video, I want us to look at the dark forces that have always become obstacles whenever Raila wants to reach the promised land. Because whenever there are demonstrations, both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza are always under pressure from certain quarters. This is the time you will hear people come up, let us talk, let us do this, let us sit on a round table, and it is always intense pressure. So what are these dark forces? Who are the dark forces that have always ensured that when people are about to reach the promised land, then you realize that the demonstrations suddenly stop and people seem like they have lost direction? That is what I want us to look at. And without much ado, number one in my list is the USA and the regime. Whether it is the Democrat or Republican, USA has always blocked Raila from reaching the promised land. We could talk of 2007 when George Bush Jr. was in power and the late President Mwai Kibaki rigged elections and Raila went to the streets. In fact, that one was spontaneous. It was never planned because people knew that this time round Raila was taking it. And then it was robbed. That was not stolen, but it was robbed. People fought. We had IDPs. People died. And then US intervened and they forced a handshake between Mwai Kibaki and Raila Amolo Odinga. 2013 they did the same. And 2017 they forced a handshake between Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. And if you see what is happening today, they want William Ruto to create an office, an official opposition leader's office. And this is the kind of handshake that they want. They always want him to work with the government. And they have always decided the president that in power has always used the US president in Kenya. Today, Meg Whitman has been playing that role very well. In fact, after the pronouncement today by Martha Karua, this statement has ruffled very many quarters. And immediately, you will see meetings. You will not be shocked to see Meg Whitman paying a courtesy call to Raila Odinga together with the Azimio fraternity, and you will be told that they have discussed peace in the area and proper opposition or checking the government. Just wait, by next week you will see. When they realize that things are getting thicker, they will hold these meetings. And Meg Whitman has always been at the forefront. William Ruto is their project and they want to ensure that he succeeds. So Meg Whitman, or in the case of 2027 it was Michael Rannabaga, the US ambassador to Kenya, has always been at the forefront. Number two is the US senators. We have the Delaware US Senator, Chris Coons. In 2017, when he realized that Raila was really outraged that the elections were rigged, and this was confirmed by the former Chief Justice David Emeritus Maraga, Chris Coons came in very fast to save the face of the then government, Ruto government, because it was very clear that they had been defeated. And he forced a handshake between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga. When push comes to shove, they always invite Raila for certain meetings, like the one that they did in Washington, D.C. And they try to talk to him that he's a peaceful man, he's a statesman. And so I want to say with the thought that USA, and in this sense, Joe Biden, will be the first person to call on Raila to stop the demonstrations, to sit down with Ruto to have a handshake, to see how they can work together. He has always been an obstacle, and it will not be any different this time round. Number two is the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The former president has been a long-time friend. Someone tells me that they used to be in State House. Jomo Kenyatta was the first president, and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the father to Raila, was the deputy president. And they had this cordial relationship, even though later they clashed out and they were not reading from the same page. Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta tried to amend fences and join the dots that had been broken. And to date, they are handshake brothers. There have been divided opinions whether Uhuru Kenyatta deliberately ensured that Raila lost elections. But others believe that Uhuru tried. Maji ilizidi unga. But anytime Raila wants to do something, when things get thicker, you will realize that Uhuru Kenyatta is being sent to talk him out of this. And Raila always listens to Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know why. The first time Raila wanted to take people to the streets, when he had planned for a parallel Jamhuri celebrations in Kamkunji, in Jacaranda, sources indicate that William Ruto literally pleaded with Uhuru Kenyatta to talk to Raila. And because of their friendship, because of the respect that Raila has for him, he called off the first demonstrations. And so he's another person that will be a thorn in the flesh, an obstacle when people are about to reach Canaan. Uhuru has an international clout. He held peace missions in Congo and in Burundi. And so whenever the international community wants to have peace, they will talk to Uhuru Kenyatta also to talk to Raila. Business community is another animal that I want to talk about. These are friends, these rich men in the country who will always pay a courtesy call to Raila Odinga, pleading and telling them that business is not doing well, telling Raila that some of his supporters are employed in their companies, and so they will always plead with Raila Odinga to stop the demonstrations. And Raila, in his usual style of a statesman, will always listen to them, even when people are about to corner the government, even when people are about to get what they want, and they retreat, the business community. The other animal are the religious leaders. I know that there are certain religious leaders, what has now become the famous quote-unquote M-Pesa bishops, those who were compromised and bought by William Ruto a long time ago. They cannot have the audacity to tell the government when the government is wrong. They are always licking boots. They can't even face Raila. But there is a certain group of religious leaders who will always face Raila and tell them, please sir, consider this. You can always talk to William Ruto. Please don't take people to the streets. And Raila always listens to them. And Raila will always call off the demonstrations. Even when you think that we are about to reach the promised land, Raila will always listen to. The other group is the office of the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. This is the man who does not care about the repercussion of his actions. He can sponsor goons like in the case of Uhuru's Northland Farm, torch churches, torch Muslims, torch mosques, and he would want people to fight so that they can use this to stop the demonstrations. Raila has always come and said that he's aware of meetings of hooligans being shared by Kimani Ichung'wah, Ndindi Nyoro, and Rigathi Gachagua, so that they can cause mayhem. After that, they will have a reason to outlaw these demonstrations. It might want to be different this time round. In fact, it is on record. Many people believe that the last time Raila called off the demonstrations, when Rigathi Gachagua had given a warning that it was the last time anybody would think of demonstrations in Kenya, people thought that he had decided that they would either arrest him or kill him. In fact, Kimani Ichung'wah was on record as saying that even if they arrest Raila, nothing will happen. And with this fear, people always tend to retreat because they cause mayhem, they can even kill people, and Raila does not want blood. Anytime people are killed, he will always retreat and say that he doesn't want more deaths. And this is the reason why ascending to power for Raila Odinga will be very difficult, because he wants things to be done the right way. In Kenya, things are not done the right way. The only election that has ever been done A transparent and verifiable election is in 202 when people were voting. It was a revolution against the Nyayo era. All the others have always been manipulated. And as I said, you can write this date down, you will remember it. And you can also write it down that the reason why it will be very difficult for Raila to ascend to power is his democratic heart. A statesman, a man who does not want violence, a man who does not want things to be done in corners. When people are buying the IEBC, he wants things done the right way. When people compromise the Supreme Court, he wants things done the right way. And this is not going to be very easy. So even as we approach the demonstrations, ladies and gentlemen, as people go to the Kamkunji, the question is one: will it be different this time round? I don't know what you think, but your guess is as good as mine.